Hello, my name is Will Brooks, and my mission is to make coding fun and easy to learn. Through this project, we will learn how to make a responsive landing page that looks good on PCs as well as mobile devices. We will learn how to add an image and create a fixed nav bar using display flex. Notice how the header does not move. The navbar will have hyperlinks linking to different parts of the landing page. If I click on features, there's features right there. If I click on demo, there's demo, and front end stack, that's right there. We will create a footer with hover effect. Notice how they turn red when we hover over them. We will learn how to embed a YouTube video into our site, and also from scratch, how to set up Font Awesome, use their icons and style them as well. Plus, we will use the input email to learn how to make this email box, and so much more. So let's get started. Okay, we're first going to start out by creating a new folder on our desktop, and we're going to call that landing page 1. And I use VS Code as my text editor, and I'm just going to drop that into VS Code. So I just opened up VS Code, and there's lots of ways to do this, but I'm just going to drop the folder in like this. Fantastic. And now we are going to create a file right here, a new file called index.html. And there we go. Now we can start. So the first thing I want to do is create the head. And with VS Code, they have a boilerplate. If you just type in the exclamation mark and then hit enter, it has a boilerplate for your head right there. And I'm going to just close this so you can see we have more real estate. But if I just highlight from here to 1 to 8, that's the head right there. We're not going to really do much there. So if you want to stop and pause the video and just write this down or to type this in, that's fine too. And then the only thing we're going to change here right now is we're going to change the title. We're going to call it landing page. And that's basically what we're going to do right now in the head. So the next thing we want to do, we want to actually start writing our HTML. And we're going to create the header for the landing page. Okay, so I'm going to hit return here. And the first thing I want to do now is I'm going to hit command / and I'm going to comment out. Now you can do it the same way. You can just hit the less sign here, the exclamation point, and 2 dashes for the same thing. But this is not going to show up on the site itself, and I'm going to type in header. So it's that this way when we're done and you have all this code written down, you can go to the different sections more easily and see where each section is. So we're going to call this section the header. I'm going to hit return again and then come back up here, and then now we can start. So let's put in header and then return, and everything's going to go in the header. And first I want a logo on the left, and then I want to create a nav bar to have 3 different links on the right. So we'll start with the logo on the left first, and we're going to create a div to surround that. And then we're going to have an image there for our logo. And with the image, we're going to use source here. And right now I'm just going to put in a hashtag right there. Normally you do that if you don't have the image yet. I'm going to show you how we can pull the image and put it in here. But right now I just want to create the header, and then I'll show you all the other stuff after that. So right there, and then we're going to close that at that point there. Good. And then let's go down a little bit, and we're going to create the nav bar. So we're going to do an AV, and then let's close that. And then everything else is going to be in the nav bar. Now in the nav bar, we have 3 different links. So I'm going to use the unordered list to put those links in. That way it makes it a little bit easier to style. You can do it different ways. So we're going to do an UL for unordered list. And then next, I have 3 things. And when we looked at the demo, I've got features, demo, and front end stack. So 3 things there. So a shortcut with VS Code is you can do LI, and then just above the 8, you have that time sign times 3. And if you hit return, boom, you've got 3 links right there. It's really simple. Since we are going to put a link inside that list, I'm going to do it a different way. So I'm going to delete these 2 here. I just wanted to show you a shortcut that you can do if you're not. And then we're going to put the A tag in here. So less than, and then A space, and then href, and then space. And then inside here, we're going to put hashtag features. And I'll tell you what that's going to do in 1 second. And then we're going to close this here. And then we're going to put features here. And that's going to be the link. So what's going on here is when this is going to show up as a link right here, the features right here, when you click on this, it's going to take you down in the site to where you can go right to where the features are. And we're going to have 3 of those, so it's going to take you to 3 different places. If you click on features, it'll take you to features section. Now, when we put the hashtag here, that's really important, because when we go down and we want to put that where the link goes, we're going to put ID equals, and I'll show you when we get to that section. But you need the hashtag features in there in order to link that in the site. So we're going to do a hyperlink in the site that we're using here. So what we want to do now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this 2 times. So I'm going to copy this twice. And then we're just going to change features to demo. And then, of course, we're going to change that here to demo. And then we're going to change again down here to front end stack. And then we don't want to leave any space, so we're going to do front end underscore stack. And then here we can leave space. It's okay. So we're going to do front end stack. And there we go. And basically that is, let's just save that there, clean it up. And that's our header. Our header's like that. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to create a section with HTML, and then we're going to style that section, and then we're going to create the next section. I'll style it. So let's go here and let's take a look. I'm using a live server. So if I click on this index here, right click, I can open this with a live server, and we just need to minimize this right here a little bit. And let's just minimize this. So I can go over here and pull this here, and then there we go. Well, let me just close this a little bit more. Great. And so now if I close that up, so now we can see what we just created. So remember, we didn't get that link yet, so it's showing right here, it's showing a picture, but we haven't grabbed that picture yet. So I'm going to show you how to grab that picture now, so we can have the logo up here. And remember, we're going to want this logo on the left side where it is, and then we want this to go horizontally across this way on the right side. And we're going to do that with CSS. But first, let's grab that logo. We are going to go to Pixabay to get that logo. Pixabay is great. They have lots of free images. So I'm going to go here and just right click, hit that plus sign, and I'm going to type in Pixabay, and it should come up right there. And I chose in blue, I'm just going to detail it, a blue earth. And then let's see, blue earth. I should put blue earth logo or icon. Let's change that. Blue earth logo. You can choose any one you want. I'm just going to choose this. Let me just open this up here. And there it is. This is the one I use. So I'm going to open it here, and I'm going to click on free download. And then I just go with the setting that's set here. I'm going to hit download. And then I'm not a robot. We click here. Sometimes they make you, check off how many motorcycles you see or bridges you see. I'm going to hit download, and that's downloaded right there. So let's go back. You can see right there at the bottom. Let's go back to our landing page, and let's minimize this. So now what I want to do is I'm going to click to the top left here, and I want to add I want to add a folder this time, and I'm going to call it images, because I want to put this in the images. So images, we're just going to call it images. And so now I'm going to go to my Finder and go to my downloads, and there it is right there. And I'm just going to pull it, drag it, and put it into my images right there. Drop it right there. Perfect. And there, that's how we get the image from Pixabay. You can use any other, you can use Unsplash, I think it's called, but Pixabay I really like a lot. So now I'm going to change the name here. I'm going to rename this because it's got a really long name, and I'm just going to call it logo. That's it, logo, because it's going to be our logo. Logo, and that PNG is already on there. So now what I want to do is I want to put that exact name into, and let's just get rid of this, and then let's get rid of this, and let's go back to HTML. So I want to put that exact name where I have that hashtag right here. It says image, and let me just open this up a little bit. Well, actually, I want you to see what's going to happen. So let's minimize that. So where it says image here, where that hashtag is on line 14, let's get rid of that, and we call that logo, right? .png. And let's see what happens. And then that's sometimes we have to refresh this. So I'm just going to go back here and just hit open with live server once more, and nothing happened. Well, why didn't anything happen? I put logo.png here and this didn't change. It's because it's in a folder. So the folder is called images. So I need to add that. I need to show where it comes from. So in order to do that, we need to put images, images, and then / logo. And there we go. Now it's huge. Our logo is huge. So what I want to do for the time being, because we're not using CSS yet, is I want to hit a space after that, and we're going to just control it with the width. And we're going to say width equals, let's just say 30 pixels right now. All right, there we go. That'll bring it down. So in the HTML, I actually put after the logo, SRC, I put a space, width equals 30 pixels, okay? And that makes it smaller there. So great. So now we have our logo. That's how you can pull a logo or any kind of image, rather, that you want. And like I said, I like Pixabay. And now we are ready to style this in CSS. One other thing I want to mention is that I do use a lot of shortcuts in VS Code, because that's why I love VS Code so much. So when I do say enter, sometimes it does the ending tag. But you have to make sure, if you're not using VS Code or if you don't have shortcuts, you've got to type in the full amount, like img, then space src equals, and the quotation marks there. Okay, so we have our image. Now it's time to use CSS, and we want to make this look like the header looks on our demo that I showed earlier. Before we can add the CSS, we need to add a link to the CSS. So we're going to go into our head and hit return, and then I'm going to just type in link, another shortcut for VS Code, and hit return. Okay, so you need the link relationship style sheet. href is going to go to style.css. Okay, so now we've got to create a file for that. So I'm going to click up here, top left, and we have to create another file. So let's click on the file, and we're going to call it again style.css. Has to be the exact same name. So now we should have it linked. And the way to check that is you can actually just change the color of the body to anything you want. So let's just say body, and let's just change it to background color red. And then let's go see what that looks like. Let's open up the live server, and there we go. It changed to red. So we know it's connected. Okay, so we know that the CSS on the file is connected to the HTML there, so we can start working on that. So now that we see that they are working, we're going to get rid of this, and we're going to select the universal selector, which is this right here. It's the kind of like the star or the times, and the universal selector, and in there we're going to do box sizing and border box. We're just going to say across the board, it's going to be border box. The universal selector basically changes everything. Then we're going to go margin, because a lot of things come with margins. Margin is 0. We want to reset everything to 0. And then padding, we're going to reset to 0. I do have a video on box sizing and border box. So if you're interested in learning more about that, check out my other video. Also, there is a great article, which I'll leave in the description below, which talks about what to use in the universal selector, which is this, and what to use in the body, the best practices to use in the body. So I will leave that description down below, because it is a really good article. So in the body, we're going to change the font, because we want the font family to be Poppins, because I like Poppins. So in order to do that, we need to go to Google Fonts, and we're going to go right here to Google Fonts, and let's go Google Fonts, and then we need to find Poppins, and I use it a lot, so it's going to pop up quite a bit. Poppins is going to pop up. So they have lots of different fonts, and then you search for it right here. You can put in Poppins, and then return, and then there we go. It's got 18 different styles. So if we click on here, you can see it's got thin 100 italic. We want the regular 400. And so we're going to click on this, and I already have it here. So if I remove this, there, I removed it. I'm going to select it right here on the right side. I click on here, and now it's selected. So now if you go all the way to the top right, you can see up here. Let me try to zoom in here with Command plus. But if we go all the way up to the top, you can see up here that red dot. That means view your selected family. So we're going to click on this at the top right, and Poppins is there. So let's go back and reset this back to 100%. Okay, so now Poppins is there, and there's two ways to do it, by link or by import. And we're going to do it by import. I usually do it by import. So we go down here, and we're going to highlight everything in between these style tags. Okay, we're going to copy that. And now we're going to go back to our CSS, and we're going to go all the way to the top. So I'm going to make some spaces up here. Oh, let's see. Come on now. Let's make some space up here and then hit return a couple times. And then I'm gonna paste it right up here. There, our family, our Poppins font family is there. Now, there's another thing we can do. If we go back to Google Fonts, and all the way at the bottom here, I'm gonna highlight it right here. It says font family, so we can just copy that and then bring that over to our body. And then I'm gonna hit paste. And there we go, font family. And let's see if it's changed it. Yes, the font has changed over on the other side. So let's see if we go and just kind of comment out this, you can see the font has changed on the right side here. And if we just take that away, we're going to see that it's going to go to Poppins. Great. So we just changed our font. Fantastic. Okay, next I want to go into our header because we're going to, like I said, we're going to do the HTML first. So our header, we did the HTML. Now we got to style the HTML. So we're going to go into our header next. But first, we need to add a class to our header. So let's go back to the HTML and go to header here, right where they have header there. And let's put a little space there. And then we're going to type in class. And again, the shortcut, you just hit CLA and then return. And then in between the brackets, let's just call this header. So we're going to just make a simple thing called header, H-E-A-D-E-R, class equals header. So now we can style the header. Now the header encompasses everything. It goes from here all the way down to here. So it encompasses the logo, which is on the left, and it also encompasses the nav bar as well. So now let's go to here. And before we put in the header, I want to comment out again. And we're going to put, now you can see how the comment out looks different in CSS. And we're going to put header. That way it's easy to come back and we know where the sections are. You don't have to do that, but I just like doing that. So now dot header, because it's a class, you have to put a dot first before you put the header in there. And then let's do the curly bracket. And first, I want our header to be fixed. So when we scroll down, the header just stays there the whole time. So we're going to say position, and we're going to call it fixed. Okay, and then the next thing I want to do, we're gonna fix it to the top. So we're gonna say top, and then we're gonna say 0. Okay, and then after that, I want the background color. So let's do background color to be hashtag EEE, because it's kind of a light gray color. You see that light gray color right there on the right side, how it changed? And then let's increase the font size, and let's increase the font size to 20 pixels. Okay, good. The font size is bigger there. You can see that there on the right side. And then I want it to go all the way across the top. So width is going to be 100%. And that should take our width across there. Let's open this up a minute to take a look and see what it looks like, to blow it up. And there you go. It's all the way up on the left. Now again, remember we want that logo here on the left and then the features, demo, and front end stack, the nav bar on the right side. So we're not done yet, but we're getting there. So next with the header, we want to add height of 75 pixels. We want it to be that high, so 75 pixels. And there we go. Now, look, now it's coming out the bottom here, but that's okay because we are going to move these from vertical to horizontal soon. We are now going to add display flex. Display flex is very useful. So display and then flex. Okay, display flex right there. What display flex does is it'll take the two sections, the logo section and the one underneath it, and it'll move the features, demo, and front end stack from the bottom to the right side. Because remember, if we look back on index.html, the header has two sections, right? That's the whole header. It has the logo, which is in this div, and then it has the nav bar, which is in this group right here, which has the nav bar and the navigation bar here. So it'll take the nav bar from underneath it and move it to the right of the logo. So now we want to style that. So we have display flex. After display flex, we want to do justify content. And justify content, you can do lots of different things. As you can see here, it pops up. Which one do you want to do? We want to do space around, right there. It's called space around. And what it'll do is it'll move these so that, let me just make this bigger. So the space here, this is it'll give it some space there, and it'll leave some space on the left and on the right. And if you take this space on the left plus this space on the right, those two together will equal the space in between here. So it's basically half the space of what is here. And they had some other ones you can do. I need to do a video on this because it's so important, display flex. I haven't done one yet, but if we do a different one, for example, a space between, then it will leave no spaces on the left side and right side. See, like that? It's got to open like that. So there's lots of things you can do. Center, and then everything will go in the center. There's lots you can do with justify content. Everything's in the center. So what we want to do is, again, space around. Because we want some space on the right and the left. So space around. And there we go. That's exactly what we want. And then we want to align items. So some of these things you'll get to know pretty quickly because you use them all the time. But in order to center it vertically, you align items, and we're going to say center. And watch the logo. See how the logo went vertically in here? So it aligned everything. And you can't really see it here because it takes up the full amount because of space here on this side, because we haven't made them horizontal yet. So that's what we want to do with this right here. And usually I kind of like do a border around it so you can see what happens, but you can see that it has a border already because it's 75 pixels there. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is work on the logo. So we want to, remember, go back to HTML, and we want to get rid of the width here of 30 pixels. So we're going to put that in CSS. That's going to blow up again. Okay, see how that blows up? So let's go to CSS. Oh, first let's go to back to HTML, and let's go to the image, img, and space. We're going to put a class there, class equals, and we're going to call that img underscore logo. So image logo. So now we can style that over in CSS. So let's just go under the head, and let's do dot img underscore logo, and then curly bracket. And we're just going to put, so it's just really something simple. Let's do width 30 pixels, just like we had before. And that'll bring that bad boy right back. Good. And that's all we want to do right there. Now, next we're going to do the navbar. So we have to go to HTML, and we're going to go in, let's just look. The navbar encompasses right like this here. So it's got the list items in the unordered list. So let's go into the unordered list, the UL, and let's add a class there. And we're going to call that nav underscore list. Okay, nav underscore list. Now let's go back to CSS, and let's go under here and dot nav underscore list. And then that's curly bracket. So now I want to do a border. We're not going to actually keep this border, but I'd like to show you and we'll do 3 pixels, what we're doing. A lot of times people don't understand what area what we're doing. So I'm going to make it red. So let's look where that shows up. So let's open this up here again. And okay, there's our live server. There's Chrome. And see how it highlights right there. That's what we're going to be. That's where we're going to be styling right there in that box there, those 3 features, demo, and front end stack. The first thing we want to do is we want to get rid of those dots. So we're going to do list style. It's called list style. And then it's going to be none. And you'll see those 3 dots disappear. See the 3 dots? There's 3 bullet points that disappear. That's good. We do that under the UL. And then we're going to do display flex. Now remember what I talked about display flex did before? It's going to be horizontal. So display flex, when I do display flex, all of these are going to come out like this because they're all separate. So they're all going to go, that's going to go horizontally. So let's watch. Display flex. And you see how they go horizontally right like that? See that? Boom. That's perfect. That's exactly what we want. Now they're spaced a little bit too much together. So we're going to fix that though. But that's all we want to do with the UL. Next, we're going to style the individual list items. So the features, demo, and the front end stack. And I'm going to show you a neat little trick to do that. Let's open this up here. And this is on the Mac. So if we put our cursor right after the A there on the A tag, because we want to put the same link, the same class actually there. On a Mac, it's going to be Option Command down arrow. On Windows, I think it's Alt Control down arrow. So Option Command and then down arrow. And you see, we have three cursors right there. So I'm going to hit space and then class. Whoa, you see we can do that all at once. And then I'm going to hit, it saves time. These shortcuts save time. Nav underscore, and we're going to call this item. So this class is going to be nav underscore item, and that's done. So we don't have to do one and then copy and paste and copy and paste. So again, that's going to be Option Command down arrow, and for Windows it should be Alt Control down arrow. So now that we have the nav item in there, let's minimize this again so we can see our browser here. Let's go into CSS, and then let's go and add that to our CSS. So it's going to be dot nav underscore list, because it's the not list, but dot underscore item. Okay, and then we're going to do curly bracket. So what we want to do here is, first of all, we want to get rid of the underline here. So let's do this. First, let's move this border so we see what we're working with. So I'm just going to hit Command X here to get rid of it. And let me make sure I spell this correctly here. And then let's just paste it here. And so now you can see we're working with each individual one here, each individual line here. Okay, so first, like I said, we want to get rid of the underline. And to get rid of the underline, it's going to be text decoration. So text decoration, and then we're going to say none. And then you're going to see that purple underline is gone. Okay, so it disappears. And the next thing I want to do is I want to give a little space there. So we're going to do padding left 20 pixels. Padding left 20 pixels. And that's going to see how that pushes everything padding left 20 pixels. It gives us some space there. And then the last thing we want to do there is I want to change the color. So, you know, when you have a link, because that's going to be a link down below into our site, when you have a link, it always says, you know, it changes, it has certain colors, but we're going to just change that to hashtag 000 means black. So that just changed to black right there. Let's get rid of that border. And let's take a look again. There. So now we have the space. We spaced them out a bit, 20 pixels to the left. Now it's starting to look a little bit better. Okay, we're starting to have our navbar come together. So the next thing we want to do is we want to create a hover item over that. And the hover is really easy. We're just going to, when we hover over this, we want it to change color. So what we want to do is, I'm just going to copy and paste this nav item here. Let's copy that and let's bring that down here. And let's paste it here. And then, let's see, and then we're going to just do a colon. And then we're going to do hover. Okay. That's a nice little trick there. And then I'm going to say color, meaning color is going to be the font color. And we're going to change that to red. So when it hovers over there, it changes to red. So let's see if that works. So we hover there, it changes to red. It changes to red. You see that? It changes to red. That's exactly what we want to do. Now, the last thing we want to do for the header is we want to make it responsive. So what I want to do is I want to, when it gets smaller, when this gets smaller, like on a cell phone or a mobile device or so, I want that logo to jump on top of this right here like that. So what we're going to do is we are going to, first of all, just go down once more, and then we're going to do @media, and then brackets, and then max width, colon, and then we're going to do 650 pixels. Okay, we're going to say at 600. So basically what that means is at 650 pixels or less, things are going to change. And what's going to change? We're going to change the header. Remember, the header is everything inside. The logo and the navbar is the header. And then we do a space, then we do another curly bracket. So what do we want the header to do? We want to do, again, display flex. So display flex. Okay, and then with display flex, we want to do flex direction column, meaning flex direction. We don't want it to go horizontal. We want it to go up and down like this, vertical. So flex direction column, it's called. And let's do that. Okay, so now at 650 pixels, that's going to change. Now let's just put a little border here. You'll know when it changes, but let's just do this. Border. And let's do 3 pixels. And solid. And let's do green. So when it turns green, when this border turns green, that means it's going to change. So let's see. But you'll see a change like that here too. So let's go check it out. So let's make this smaller. I'm going to make it smaller. There, it changed right there. The border turned green and this popped on the top. And that's all we want. That's all we're going to do for the responsiveness for the header, because we just want to make that a little bit smaller. So when people see it on a smaller screen, it's not as large and things don't get really tiny. So we just want to pop that up. That'll be responsive enough for us for a cell phone or so. Okay, the next thing we want to do is go to the call to action section. And that will be in the part 2 video that you see on the screen. If this has been helpful, please like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Goodbye.